everyone. I hope you're having a great day. This is Matt Rocco and coming to you from Nacogdoches, Texas. So today I've been asked if I would share with you the quote unquote inspiring journey of Matt Rocco. And really, when I thought about that question, I thought I would share the inspiring journey of Etech that I've been so privileged to be a part of for the last 22 or 20 years plus. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Etech, and this July or June 15th, as I hope you know, we will be celebrating our 20-year anniversary from when we became an independent company and separated from Bell South. So before we go there, I want to tell you a little bit about my background, where I started and how I got there. When I came out of college, I graduated from Dickinson College, and I went and started working for a company called Dun & Bradstreet. I was a financial major, and I thought I wanted to have a career in financial analysis. And I got involved at Dun & Bradstreet early on in their first call center back in Allentown, Pennsylvania in 1984. And once I got involved in the call center division of Dun & Bradstreet, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed being with people versus sitting in a room crunching numbers. And I began to accelerate my career at Dun & Bradstreet. When I left Dun & Bradstreet in 2000, I had elevated to vice president of call center operations, and I actually helped open up 4 different call centers during my time at Dun & Bradstreet. So I learned the call center business at a very young age, from the grassroots on up. And I took that knowledge and helped grow the Dun & Bradstreet call center division during the time that I was there. In 1999, I was recruited by a representative from Bell South to come to Nacogdoches, Texas, to start a brand new call center division for a subsidiary of Bell South called the Berry Company. Berry Direct was a brand new division of the Berry Company, whose purpose was to sell Yellow Pages into remote markets or to customers that didn't spend a lot of money. So a lot of you younger people probably don't even know what Yellow Pages are, but it used to be a big business. Companies would spend a lot of money to advertise in the Yellow Page phone books. This was before the internet, before people could go online and research anything they wanted or find. People would spend a lot of money in these Yellow Page books, because when individuals needed to find a company, they would go to the Yellow Page. A local company, they would go to their Yellow Pages. So we had a full house in Nacogdoches, Texas, loaded up with a bunch of sales reps selling Yellow Page advertisements. And some of you, I know there's some people still in our Texas locations that were part of Berry Direct and the Berry Company when we were doing that. But it was interesting that during that time, we were asked by Bell South to begin selling phone services as a bundled services for Bell South phone customers. So this is before long distance and before the internet was part of AT&T as it is today. We were actually selling features such as call forwarding, caller ID, complete choice packages. So these were things you would bundle into the normal Bell South phone service. And somewhere during that time, we ended up looking a lot like Bell South's external third-party BPO companies. And the decision was made sometime in 2022 to either sell Berry Direct or close Berry Direct. We looked, like I said, a lot like one of their outsourced partners, and we weren't doing any Yellow Page work anymore. We were doing more phone work. So the decision was made to either sell us, and if they couldn't sell us, they were going to close us. I was given the responsibility back then of basically working with the potential buyers as they came to the call center and did their due diligence. I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone about this, including my wife, or community leaders, or our employees. So for about 6 months, I had the responsibility of dealing with companies as they were coming in to explore whether they wanted to purchase Berry Direct or not at the time. And I will tell you, it was a very challenging time for me because I had been in Nacogdoches now for 3 years. I had seen Berry Direct grow to almost 400 employees. My children were all young. Nacogdoches had become their home. And, I was really hopeful that we were going to be able to sell the company to a larger BPO company or someone, that would come and take care of those jobs and not necessarily want to move those jobs to call centers that they had already established. During the months and months of due diligence and working with different companies, we were about 60 days away from where Bell South had made a decision. We were, if we didn't sell the company by this date, they were going to close it. And, that was, again, a very, very challenging time for me. I had also been told at that time by Bell South that, hey, don't worry about you, Matt Rocco. We have a job for you, whether it's in Dayton, Ohio or Atlanta, Georgia. We're going to take care of you. We're going to move you and your family to one of our big centers, and not to worry. But at that point in my life, I was worried because I had no interest in leaving Nacogdoches. It had become home, and my family was entrenched there, and I felt a responsibility to the almost 400 employees that we had there. So we were 60 days away from closing when I met a gentleman by the name of Dilip Barrett, and Dilip showed a real interest in acquiring Berry Direct, and his main motivation was he had had built a beautiful complex in Gandhinagar, India, in the state of Gujarat. And it was his hope was to attract BPO companies to come to what was called Info City, and still is. And many of you are, that's your home, your Etech home in Gandhinagar, Info City, India. Back then, Gandhinagar was not necessarily a place where BPO companies were going to. It wasn't recognized as a BPO destination, say like Bangalore or Delhi or Mumbai, and Dilip was having a very difficult time getting business to come there. The reason he was in Gujarat, he had built Info City in Gujarat, is that's where he was home. That was home to him. That was where he was born and raised, in the state of Gujarat. So with the difficulty that he was having, his idea was, hey, I could look to acquire a small BPO company and then maybe find ways to naturally grow jobs into India that made sense. And that's what attracted him to Berry Direct. He and I got together. We created a business plan as what that might look like. We put together the necessary funding, and we ended up buying Berry Direct. We were literally days away from closing, and we were able to finalize the agreement with Bell South and purchase Berry Direct. We literally closed on Friday, June 12th of 2003 as Berry Direct, and then on Monday, June 15th of 2003, all of our employees were basically laid off for a couple days, and they came to work on Monday, June 15th, as employees of ETI, which is now Etech. So our journey began, this inspiring journey began on June 15, 2003, with one call center in Nacogdoches, Texas. We had about 4,000 employees. Today, as we approach 4,000 employees, We have centers in Texas, Florida, a brand new beautiful center in Jamaica, and 2 centers in India. We're over 3,500 employees, and we're growing to 4,000 employees. It's been an incredible journey these last 20 years. There's been so many milestones and so many challenges over the years, but yet so many accomplishments. And the one thing I love about Etech is that we're big enough where we can serve some of the best brands, the largest brands in the world, Fortune 100 companies, but yet we're small enough where we're still a family. We look out for each other, we take care of each other, we know each other, we know our customers, and they know us. And if you look at Etech over the years and our ability to persevere, there's one thing that is at the core of that, and that's the culture. That's the culture that we created. And that culture is a result, I believe, of everything that we've experienced over the years. When you look back at 2003, the BPO industry, especially the telemarketing industry, was radically changing. The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, had introduced something called the TRS rules, which basically was the introduction of the do not call list, and it had a bunch of other legislation in there. And there's still legislation that's being introduced into that bill on a regular basis. But at that point, we were about 98% of what we were doing was outbound sales. And today, less than 10% of what we do is outbound sales. Actually, probably less than 5%. But when that bill was introduced, we really had to pivot and reinvent ourselves. So when you look at our company in 2004, 2005, and everything that was going on, we had to become a much different company. We knew we couldn't depend on a book of business that was nothing but outbound telesales. And so we began to change. We began to get involved with other services in the BPO industry, and we began looking at everything we were doing and how to go about that. That's about the time when we got involved in other lines of business, including chat and data quality and reporting and a lot of the stuff that we began doing in India, we began doing for our customers as well. Along came 2009, Great Recession of 2009 hit. We went through some tough times there, as a lot of you will remember. And one of the things that we did is we were at a point where Bell South back then, who was our largest client, had made the decision they had just been acquired by AT&T, and they had made the decision to repatronize a bunch of jobs that were being managed overseas, whether in India or the Philippines or whatever. And we had a bunch of work that we were doing for them out of our offices in India. The decision was made by AT&T to bring those jobs back to the United States. And that was done at around the same time we were going through a pretty incredible recession in the United States and really globally. So these kind of things hit us at, it was almost like the perfect storm that came down on Etech. And we had to do some things where we had to look at what we were doing and find ways to cut costs and pivot. One of the things that we did as a company is we decided we weren't going to lay anybody off. We were going to, instead of laying off people, I went to our senior leaders and said, hey, what if instead of we laid off people, we all gave a little bit back? We all took made a decision to voluntarily reduce our salaries for a short period of time. So instead of laying off 100 people, we all decided to give back some of our pay and take voluntary pay reductions for a short period of time till we can get over this hurdle. And so we did that. And instead of a lot of people or a little bit of people feeling a lot of pain, we all shared in the pain and felt the pain, a little bit of pain instead of a lot of pain. And it was during this time, as we persevered, that I was introduced to the concept of servant leadership. And this is what I believe was one of the things that's radically changed our company, our culture, that is now the foundation of Etech, was introduced to me during this difficult time. And we basically took the old concept or old philosophy of an autocratic top-down leadership, and we reversed the paradigm where basically our team members are put on the top and leadership is put on the bottom. So me as the CEO of Etech, my job is, I'm at the bottom of the pyramid. My job is to look up and serve the almost 4,000 employees that we have. And the better job I do in serving bottom up and developing, the better equipped we are as a company to better serve our customers, each other, and our communities. And that was really something that took a lot of thought and a lot of effort, and some very intentional steps were needed to make that happen, to transform the company from what we were to where we are today, and still evolving. It was during that time that we came up with the concept of our 12 character commitments. It was during that time that we introduced the trusted advisor into our company and the trust equation. We began developing all kinds of coaching tactics, coaching curriculum, and certifications that has continued to propel our company into the future. The leadership culture that has been developed really has become our foundation, and it's become our rock. And when I look at our servant leadership, there's a couple really great examples that stick out to me that have tested servant leadership, and tested it at our core. And if not for servant leadership, we might not have been able to get through these two latest challenges. The first challenge that comes to mind was COVID. We were rocking and rolling. We were in the midst of having our record-setting year back then in 2019, and on the heels of that, COVID hit. No one was prepared for COVID. No company was prepared for COVID. And many businesses went out of business during COVID. But I think at Etech, and I know at Etech, we were best prepared as anyone because of our philosophies and the way we ran our business. And when COVID hit, actually right when it was beginning to hit, we rallied our leadership team together across all disciplines within Etech. Operations, program implementation, recruiting, HR, IT. We came together and we developed strategies to move our 3,000 employees at the time, team members at the time, that were all deployed within our call centers, to move them to be able to, and equip them to be able to work from home. Not only move them, but train them and equip them. So we rapidly developed processes which enabled any team member that was capable and that was able to work from home. And we made a commitment that, the livelihood of our people is our first priority. Your livelihood, your safety, and the safety of your families is our priority. And we stuck to that, and we did whatever we could so that we were able to move our folks to a work from home, safe work from home environment, give them the technology and the processes to be successful, and then be there for our customers during this crisis. So from the end of February, where 100% of our employees In 2020, we're working in an Etech call center. By March of that year, by the end of March, we had 90% of our staff that was working from home. And it was amazing to watch this unfold. And the key was, it wasn't me, it was the team. I was a cheerleader. It was our team member, our senior team, that took the bull by the horns and put the processes and the plan together to make it happen. And it was, for me, it was so humbling to watch this unfold and to see how much our efforts were appreciated, not only across our company, but by everybody, by our customers and in our communities. As I said, so many companies were going out of business. It was impacting communities. And yet we were able to rally and find ways to be there for our customers, our communities, and absolutely each other. So as we did all this, and COVID hung around, still hanging around, but as we began last year to learn how to manage COVID as a global society, and began bringing people back to the workplace, and even at Etech, we have many of our team members now working back in our call centers. But on the heels of all this, we delivered a record-setting year in 2022. It was our largest revenue year ever. We hit almost $90 million of revenue, and when you think about that, and where we were in 2002, where we are today, having got through the incredible trial that COVID presented, it makes me really proud, like a proud parent, and it warms my heart, and it reinforces with me that the decisions that we made over the years to invest in our people through servant leadership, through the trusted advisor, through all the coaching and all the investments that we've made to continue to invest in each other, it reinforces with me that everything that we've done has been well worth it. And it also reinforces with me that our best days are still ahead, that the future of Etech is so bright, and that we have so much more to do. We're kind of in the midst of another little struggle right now, as we've had some customers that have made some decisions to move work in-house or just stop doing it. And so we're kind of in the midst of another struggle. But again, our future is so bright. And I believe in our company, and I believe our journey is so inspiring. And that's what I'm here to talk about, that journey. Not about Matt Rocco's journey, but Etech's journey. But the two are kind of intertwined. And there's one other story I want to share with you that was a personal thing to me. But once again, it just demonstrated the leadership capabilities and the leadership culture at Etech. So back in 2016, as a lot of you know, I became very ill. I was walking around with double pneumonia, and I didn't know that. I was very sick, and I was working too much. I was moving and grooving too much. I wasn't sleeping enough. I wasn't eating properly, and all this kind of culminated in me becoming very sick, and so sick that the double pneumonia just expanded into my lungs, and my lungs collapsed. I went into a coma, and I was in a coma for 2 months, and I was in the hospital for 6 months, and really it took me about a year to recover. During the 2 months I was in the coma, my family was told on multiple occasions that I wasn't going to make it, and Dillip was told I wasn't going to make it. The senior leaders at Etech were told I wasn't going to make it. And it was during this time that those senior leaders, your senior leaders, rallied together. Kayleen Eccles, Jim Ayub, Ronnie Mize, Veronica Chimney, Guru, David Carrizales, Patrick Reynolds, Ashwini. I mean, I could go on and on. Amit. All these leaders stepped together and ran the company. And they didn't skip a beat. They knew what the situation was. They knew where I was personally. I was unable to be there. I was able to serve. They weren't even sure if I was going to be there when it was all said and done. And nobody panicked. Everybody came together. And those folks took the bull by the horns. They did what they've been trained to do, what they've been prepared to do, and they embraced the moment. And they led the company during that time. And I was obviously not aware of what was going. I was in my own little world in the coma, and that's a whole nother story that maybe someday I'll share with you. But I knew Etech was in good hands. It was in great hands. And when I was able to come through my coma and regain consciousness, and then began to understand what had transpired to me individually and physically, but also what had gone on at Etech, it was just one of those moments where I felt so overwhelmed by our company and how they had been there and been able to step up, and our people, and continue to lead Etech through that difficult time. When I began to recover and wanted to get back involved because I missed everyone so much, and I missed serving you guys so much, my team, the senior executives, kept assuring me that everything was under control, and they made it a point to make sure that I needed to get better, that I needed to take care of myself. We preach about, in order for us to give our best, we got to be at our best, physically, mind, body, and spirit. And so they took my words that I had been enforcing with them for so long and said, Matt, for you to give our best, you have to be at your best. And we need you right now to not focus on Etech, but to focus on you, to be selfish and to take care of getting yourself better, so that you can be your best when you do come back to Etech. And so eventually, I got better. And I don't know, none of us are really better. We're all work in progress, as Kayleen likes to say. So anyway, I'm working my way back, and here I am, fully recovered and back at it. And I'm just so happy and humbled to be here and being part of this incredible team and being part of this incredible journey together with you all. And I'm so honored that I've been able to play some small role in helping us get to where we are, and helping us, striving to be remarkable in serving our people, our customers, and our communities. And when you look at ETI in June of 2003, with less than 400 employees and about $13 million in annual revenue, and you look at where we are today, with almost 4,000 employees and marching towards 100 million in annual revenue, that is absolute reflection on each and every one of you and our company and our commitments that we've made. And this year we'll be 20 years old as Etech, and I look forward to celebrating with everyone in June as we recognize and celebrate our 20-year anniversary. And if you look back and that doesn't inspire you to have been a part of this journey together, I don't know what else could from a business perspective, And the things that I look back on that I remember most is not the records and not the accomplishments professionally, but the accomplishments that we've been able to be a part of together individually as people. Being there for each other during the most difficult times, being there for each other to celebrate our most accomplished victories and milestones, being there for each other to serve our customers and our communities. Those are the things that I remember, and that I will always cherish in this journey called life. And I hope you do too as well. I hope you take the opportunity to look back on this Aspire journey and make sure to remember the people that have been impacted, each other, our families, our customers, and those in our community that need us and that rely on us to be there for them. So as I wrap up today, I want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you have contributed during these last 20 years. And I thank you for being part of that journey and allowing me to be a part of it. And I look for even greater days ahead because I truly believe our best is still yet to come. Thank you. God bless you. God bless your families, and God bless our great company.